Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. We are a student of Mr. Roy Sambel for the subject of corporate finance. We are ADMI International Business School student. Now we are going to share about a book, the book called The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. So, who is Benjamin Graham? He was a British-born American financial analyst, investor, and professor. He is widely known as the father of value investing. And actually, Warren Buffett described The Intelligent Investor, this book, as the best book about investing ever written. Graham exhorted the stock market participant to first draw a fundamental distinction between investment and speculation. So, what is the aim or the end mind of this book? Basically, this book helps people how to invest in the capital market, stocks, instruments especially, while minimizing their economic risk. This book a quote from this book tell us that a guide in value investing and how to prevent the market to take your financial decision. From chapter 1 until chapter 4, basically, some of the lesson is we talk about this book telling us about time value of money, where every time the value of the money have decreased in value due to inflation. Investing in shares is a good choice when inflation is not too high. So from chapter 1 and 2, this book tells us about inflation, which is one of the parameters that will involve when we talk about time value of money. And some terminology that this book say about time value of money is compound interest, future value, and present value. First, compound interest. What is compound interest? Compound interest is the interest calculated on principal and interest accumulated over the previous period. So basically, the interest from principal that we invest will be automatically reinvest and will calculate among the period. So make it simple, if we have $100,000, we invest in 5% annual for 10 years in a row, so our money will become $150,000. That is compound interest. And the next terminology is future or present value. So basically, the money received now is more valuable than later. Some of the parameter that is calculated is the rate of investment and the number of period the investment will be held. The formula, as we seen in the presentation, that the future value is a function of present value multiplied by interest and number of periods. So that is basically what we've learned from chapter 1 until 4. And the next chapter will be explained to our member of group, Mr. Toyong or others, please.
Okay, so actually this chapter should be explained by me. So actually I'm Miss, not Mr. And then we will, I will explain I will explain about the essential of the chapter 5 until chapter 7. So it is about the defensive investor and common stock, and then portfolio policy for the enterprising investor from negative and also positive approach. So basically, this 3 chapter talking about the consideration of the investor, whether being a defensive investor or also being enterprising investor. So specifically, the readers can take away several key from this chapter. Is about number 1 is to ensure that the safety of your capital first. By means that never invest with more money that you can afford to lose. And then second one is about the managing risk to minimize your exposure in the event of unforeseen downturn. And then the third one is only buy stock that are much less expensive than the real company value itself. So buy means that you need to have something like analysis about the fundamentals of each company you are thinking about investing, like analyze the financial ratio, management track record, and also competitive position of the company in the same industry. And then if we talk about the portfolio policy for the enterprising investor in the negative approach, Graham highlights that we should avoid investment in the second grade bonds, foreign government bonds, in the initial public offerings, and also junk bonds. And then the latest one is about the positive side of the portfolio policy is about distinct policy approach, which actually divided into three. The first one is enterprise investor can focus on relatively large enterprise or unpopular enterprise. And then enterprising investor can purchase bargain issue. And then the third one is enterprising investor can focus on special situation or workouts. So actually, these three chapters gives us the fundamentals about the consideration or also some factors that need to be analyzed before we decide to invest in the company or corporate. So I think for the next, we will discuss or we will explain about the essence of the next chapter. Will explain by our team, Pak Roni Santoso.
How to invest in stock. Benjamin Graham have 7 points. 1. Avoid day trading because it is very risky. 2. IPO are not good investment because they are often too expensive. 3. Treat bonds with skepticism. 4. Only buy foreign bond if you are very confident. 5. A great company is not very good investment if you overpay for the stock. 6. Large company grow more slowly. Therefore, avoid company with PE ratio above 25 until 30 times. 7. Beware of temporary unpopularity. The market will quickly forget and the stock may rebound if you get it a reasonable price. Next slide, please. Benjamin Graham have two type of investor, defensive and aggressive investor. Defensive investor want to avoid spending too much time on investing. Their goal is to perform on average in line with the market and to avoid serious mistake. Aggressive investors are willing to devote serious time and energy to research stock and select good ones. Their goal is to achieve better return than passive investor. Graham says an extra 5% per year before taxes. Defensive and aggressive investor can be intelligent and can perform well. The key is choosing the right type of investment for your temperament and goal. Next slide, please. Benjamin Graham said, you can make a lot of money from market volatility. Benjamin Graham recommended that you decide to sell share when their valuation is very high and buy more share when their price is very low. Market volatility is scary for many people. In market volatility, we can sell share when their valuation is very high. We can also buy when the valuation is very low, so we can earn a lot more profit. Next, Suyong, please.
Okay, I think we have covered a lot. There are just a few more to go, so stay with us. Please be patient. The next chapter is the investor and his advisors. There are two types of investors, namely the first is defensive investor who will not ordinarily be equipped to pass independent judgment on the recommendation made by their advisors, but they can be explicit and even repetitively so in stating the kind of securities they want to buy. If they follow their advisor prescription, they will confine themselves to high-grade bonds and the common stock of leading corporation, preferably those that can be purchased at individual price levels that are not high in the light of experience analysis. The security analysis of any reputable stock exchange house can make up a suitable list of such common stocks and can certify to the investor whether or not the existing price level, therefore, is a reasonably conservative one as judged by past experience. Then the second is the aggressive investor who will ordinarily work in active cooperation with his advisors. They will want their recommendation explained in detail, and they will insist on passing their own judgment upon them. This means that the investor will gear their expectation and the character of their security operations to the development of their own knowledge and experience in the field. Only in the exceptional case where the integrity and competence of the advisors have been truly demonstrated, should the investor act upon the advice of others without understanding and approving the decision made. Both types of investors need investment advice, which can be obtained from a relative or friend, local banker, brokerage firm, investment banking house, financial investment counselor, and so on. But what investors need to remember is that they must be wary of all persons, whether customers, brokers, or security salesmen, who promise spectacular income or profits. Next, please. Okay, this book also discuss about security analysis, for the lay investor using a general approach. This should begin with the interpretation of a company's annual financial statement. There are several considerations for this analysis, namely long-term prospect. Today, smart investors should start by downloading at least a 5-year annual report, then comb through the financial statements, gathering evidence to help they to answer the two main questions. The first one is, what makes the company grow? And then the second one is, where will profit come from? Then second, management quality and behavior. Corporate executives must say what they will do, then do what they say. Read the last annual report to see what forecast managers made and whether they met or failed. Manager must honestly admit their failures and take responsibility for them, rather than blaming all proposed scapegoats like the economy, uncertainty, or weak demand, etc. The third one, strength and capital structure. The most basic definition of a good business is this: It makes more money than it consumes. Good managers are constantly looking for ways to put that cash to productive use. Over the long term, companies that meet this definition will almost certainly grow in value, whatever the stock market does. Fourth, the dividend payment records, and the last is dividend yield. Next, please. Okay, the last chapter, which is no less important, is the margin of safety as the central concept of investment. Investment is most intelligent when it most business-like. If a person sets out to make profits from security purchases and sales, he is embarking on a business venture of his own, which must be run in accordance with accepted business principles if it is to have a chance of success. There are 4 principles that must be considered, including the first and the most obvious of this principle is know what are you doing, know your business. For the investor, this means do not try to make business profits out of securities that are return in excess of normal interest and dividend income unless you know as much about security values as you would need to know about the value of merchandise that you propose to manufacture or deal in. The second is business principle. What I mean, don't let anyone else run your business unless you can supervise his performance with adequate care and understanding, or you have unusually strong reasons for placing implicit confidence in their integrity and ability. For the investor, this rule should determine the condition under which they will allow someone else to decide what is done with their money. Third, do not enter upon an operation that is manufacturing or trading in an item unless a reliable calculation shows that it has a fair chance to yield a reasonable profit. In particular, keep away from ventures in which you have little to gain and much to lose. For the enterprising investor, this means that their operation for profit should be based not on optimism, but on arithmetic. For every investor, it means that when they limits their return to a small figure as previously, at least in a conventional bond or preferred stock, they must demand convincing evidence that they are not risking a substantial part of their principal. Last business rule is have the courage of your knowledge and experience. If you have formed a conclusion from the facts and if you know your judgment is sound, act on it, even though others may hesitate or differ. You are neither right nor wrong because the crowd disagrees with you. You are right because your data and reasoning are right. Similarly, in the world of securities, courage becomes the supreme virtue after adequate knowledge and tested judgment are at hand. So I think that's all from us. Thank you for watching. Happy investing.